Ready. Holy crap. Oh, goodness gracious. I had fully intended on being out in the barn. Um, yeah, tonight, but then New York decided to do New York things. So on Wednesday, it was 60 degrees. Yesterday, it was somewhere in the 50, and I was still like, okay, cool. Or no, Wednesday. Yesterday was Wednesday. Um, it was like 60 degrees or something. Maybe it's Tuesday, it was 60 degrees. And then yesterday was like 50. I'm like, oh, dude, totally going to be out in the barn this week. And, just a little more comfortable out there doing this because my son's in the next room over. And I gave him fair warning that, embarrassing dad was going to be in the doing live stream. Anyway, and then it's like 22 degrees today. So we're, we're, uh, we're still up in my what is my old bedroom. I grew up in this house. I think I've stated that before. What's going on, man? I really want to start working on the cart too. Like I did that whole, I painted it and everything, and I got the belly pan, I got all the bearings, and I want to do content for that. But I I hate being cold, and I still have time. There's no rush. I want to get to making some content where I'm actually showing you guys some things. I did pick up some. I went down to JC Specialties. That video, I got a whole bunch of footage on my phone, and I have to piece that together. Do an intro for it, and for Sunday's video. So I'm gonna basically take you guys along with me ish. It's not like a vlog style, but I took a whole bunch of footage of it inside of JC Specialties, and I thought that if I put them all together, and then I'll probably do some voiceover and just talk about what's in there. JC Specialties is it's a really amazing place. They have uh, built it right, and they do a lot of business, and something like 4,000 individual different parts they carry or can carry or something. I mean, just the seats alone. Like you go up into this loft area, and there's so many seats. So people ask me where to get Track Tech products or where to get this, where to get that, and there are a lot of smaller shops that I have no problem recommending. But if you're looking for stuff in JC is definitely give them a call, and they got a lot of stuff. To get a new body before I can go racing. Yeah, so my nose needs repair. I really could use a new body. It'll make for good content, me repairing it, and showing how that's done. But would I prefer just to put a new body on it? That'd be fantastic. But I can't spare the couple $100 that it cost to. I considered it when I was down at JC. They had bodies there, and I considered buying something there, but it looks like I'll just repair my Chavis nose, and it's not Chavis's fault. I'm rough on stuff. My old man always said that I could break an anvil with a feather, and he's not wrong. I'm- if there's an accident to be had on track, I can find it. Don't worry, I got mad skills, man. Uh, Question. My track went to Reaper only. Was the top three items you would tell people how to do? Well, the Reapers. Okay, so Reaper, I wouldn't go crazy inside. If you're internal prepping, don't go crazy. If you're pick your pick your poison. I do ounces. But I wouldn't go any more than say on right sides 2 ounces. It might even, depending on your track, if your track is a hard, fast, black groove type track, I 2 ounces might even be a touch much for it. I wouldn't go crazy inside. I don't think they need much internally. Um, Nothing super aggressive. I pour it, and the reason I say that is I've poured a lot of prep into them, and I think it slowed the tires down. I think they got saturated and they got slower. All right, so externally, I'm a track tech guy, obviously. Track tech. I'm going to tell you externally. The three things that I would have for them would be blue tire wash, but I suggest that to anybody, especially for like dog days of summer. If you're not wanting to put something aggressive on your tire, cleaning the tire with blue tire wash, and then maybe even layering on, a couple coats of blue tire wash. it's not, it's not a prep per se, but it does have DRT in it, so it's going to help not allow the tread to get, saturated with dirt and stuff like that. People do that. They prep with blue tire washer when a track is hot and fast. They don't want to drop your armor. And then as far as prep, again, track tack, or whatever brand you're using, go with something lighter. It's just my personal preference. Things I've heard in the track tack line: black sand, black sand cut with Acrosol 50/50 for at track. Absolutely. You can even do that, prior to that. Or I'd say Ruby is a really good one that's been suggested to me that the Reapers really like. Ruby. You can do a combination of the two if you like. Even maybe cut the black sand with some Ruby. You can do that. You can experiment that way. But that's probably it. Don't over prep the internal. Um, they do. Here's another tidbit advice. I've heard split on this. Odom, I believe, said that you surface them every time they come off. If you have a surfacer, if you sand them, if you get the a fresh layer of rubber, they do better. Um, I've heard unnecessary from other people. Just prep, and obviously they I think Reaper would disagree, Odom would disagree, but it come the newer the date code, the faster the tires are. It's a freshness thing. It's not, tires are tires, and yes, Duro is makes a difference. But fresh rubber is tends to be faster. I mean, just I know it's asphalt, I know it's NASCAR, but stickers are faster than old tires. You can have a long run car that's set up for when the tires start to fade, or get your car doesn't fade as bad as others do the longer you run, but typically new fresh rubber is usually faster. Not in all cases, but a lot of cases. So, yep, that's don't go crazy with the prep. I don't think it's necessary. Things like goat pee and stuff like that. It's track dependent, but it's a harder tire. That was probably my. I know everybody's on it, and it's woe is me that the 3 times I ran them up here. It's a hard tire for up here. I mean, even our 33s are in Burris. Yes, they might be, a 33 might be punching anywhere 52 to 55, sometimes 60s, depends on how what you've done to them, how long they've been around. But there's something about the sidewall is a little softer on a Burris, so it it works well for the softer type tracks up here, to whereas the Reaper is more like a Maxxis, is what I'm assuming more like an AJC. It's just a hard track tire, to where just it doesn't have to be a bit up track, but it's going to be a harder type track tire. It's just the way they're designed. It's and it rightfully so. They're in the part of the country, their majority of their stuff is going to be down south. It's going to be the harder, typically faster type tracks. Then we got a lot of soft stuff up here, and it's not that Reapers can't work up here. If everybody is on Reapers, then you're all kind of in the same boat. But typically, the durometer is a bit hard. The sidewall is a bit, hard for getting a hold of stuff up here. So, my opinion. Uh, do you see yourself? If I had the money, I probably would. I like them. Is it necessary for what I use them for? No. There is a lot of information in there. If you want to, I am let's say a bros bro. I am a Saturday night racer. I'm not a big timer. There is a lot of, if you're a very techie type person, if you can break that stuff down, if you're gonna, if you want to do it, if you can, afford to do it, I don't not suggest it. I think they're wonderful. The bigger screen looks amazing. I have Micron 5 T2s, so I have two temp for my two stroke, because I want to know what I got. I got exhaust and water on mine. It's water cooled 270cc two stroke, and but even that, like the secondary heat source, the water, it doesn't read fast enough. Exhaust temp when it comes to that stuff is the best, and that's what I typically judge by. And in the Micron 5, there's so much information that I'm not going to use. I basically, I got dummy lights on there just so, flash right at me to get my attention. Like, hey man, you're getting this thing too hot, or which doesn't do me a bit of good in the clone because I don't jet them or anything like that in the clone. But on the two stroke, you need to pay attention to that. Um, if you can afford it, it's great. I think there's a lot of I'm drawing a blank here. Kart Speed Solutions. They would be my suggestion for watch their get on them, get at them on Facebook. I know they do seminars and stuff like that, real tech oriented type stuff. I'm more a Saturday night racer. It's not that I can't learn to understand that stuff. It's not in my DNA. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, when I race, I don't race with marks. I race by feel, and I don't see something. Okay, this is my lift point. I don't do that. I do it by feel, how the cart feels. So it's just more of a technical aspect. It probably costs me speed. I probably could do that and find speed, and other people could do it, but it's tough. I've always raced by feel, and that's one of those things too. I use a micron for recall. Get off. What was my RPM? What was my temp? What was this and that? And then I make adjustments accordingly. Uh, what we got here? You see the micron. A couple questions. Pushing center off. What is some things you would change? Kind of a loaded question because I don't know your track surface or anything like that. All I can say is take a swing very well in one way. Don't make a minute little adjustment. Take it if you're cross, for instance, say you're running 65 cross and you're pushing off, um, take it down to 62 or 60 and see what happens. See if it adjusts. I think that a lot of people are scared to move off of what numbers are suggested to them, whether it be the manufacturer, whether it be, somebody says, oh, you got to run, 66% cross here. Take a bigger swing at it. It's hard for me, without knowing all the parameters. Like, what are your tires? What are they doing? What do they have in them? What type of surface is it? What does it act like in the feature? That would, even me at a track, would be difficult for me to make that judgment call for my own cart. But you can play around things like I would move cross. Um, you could play with stagger. How's it turning in the center? If it's feeling a little tight center still, maybe add a little more rear stagger to get it to roll through the center better. And typically, not always, but typically, a little more rear stagger has the tendency to free the cart up off the corner because you're turning so well that it just it doesn't like it. The less stagger you have, the tendency is that it gets tighter, but then again, it's track dependent. So I would probably play with those two things first. Things first. I would play with cross, take a big swing at it, see what it does. If you're having that big of a problem with it, take the time in your heat race or whatever it is, or maybe sacrifice a feature and take a big swing at it. See where it goes. Did that get worse? Did it get better? And then you can kind of adjust there. Also, I would say you could probably play with camber a little bit, and your the further you tip down your right front, the quicker it's going to load the front. Well, it also transfers back that fast too. When you split the difference there, if you took a little bit of right front camber out of it, it may transfer back to the left rear. But then again, that may be a case where you want to increase that and stay off your left rear, that drive. Like I said, this it's a very it's a very simple problem to have that takes a lot of nuance to adjust out. I can't tell you one thing. Oh, just go and do this. Well, once you take cross out, it's going to have, it may have an effect on entry. It may have an effect on center. It may, it's just it's kind of it's hard to explain. Even harder to do the day of. I've also got a can't get setup notes for it because when they contacted Margate, they said they're any ideas. Scaling and setup. 2013. I don't know. Uh, I that I vaguely remember that chassis. I think it looked like a really cool idea. Like they had really interesting concept going up in the front. In the front end with the, we'll call them the caster blocks and stuff like that. It was a little different design. I thought it always looked rad. It looked like something like an open would do better with because of the adjustability in it. Never saw one in person, wouldn't know. But 2013, I mean, you're starting to be, your standard type of cross settings, your standard type of, if I were to give like a basic, medium setup, I would say, somewhere in the range of 62 to 64 cross, somewhere 57, 58% left. It is a stiffer chassis, so might need more left. It might need more cross than that, but that's, your standard type stuff. My basic rule is, in general, if I'm going to suggest to somebody who has an older chassis, we'll say pre 2007, that's generally a lower cross chassis. Not always. I say everything with a, take my advice with a grain of salt, because things always change. Your circumstances might change. But if I do suggest lower cross settings to somebody, a setup, I would suggest 52 to 56 cross. Okay. I would suggest 56 to 50, maybe high 57 left side weight, and then like 45 nose, maybe 45 5. Okay, cool. If I'm going to suggest a base layer, higher cross type of setup, I'm going to suggest anywhere, I'd say 62 to 65% cross. I'm going to suggest anywhere from 58 to 60% left. But then I'm going to add some nose to that. So we're going to go with like a 46, 46 and a half nose. Doesn't work on every chassis, but those are, like a broad. I'm taking broad strokes at something. Um, it there are so many different tires. There are so many different tracks. There's so many different reactions to everything. It's hard to, just put your thumb on, you know, what's going to be something. So I would say either try, maybe it would like a low cross setting. Maybe it would like those different numbers. Uh, hard for me to say. Still using Digitron tech. Yeah, Digitrons, they work just fine, especially if you're looking for a recall. Come off track, hit the button, gives you your recall. Uh, cool. I don't use my Micron a ton. I probably should, but I don't. Sometimes I cycle through and I see was it the G-force rating, the load, where it shows how much grip you're getting through each turn, and you can kind of determine, of course you feel that as well, but how much grip you're actually, and where it's gripping the best. There's a useful tool. Uh, what's 70 cc? I don't know. In ounces? I don't know. No idea. I can't use my phone. I was gonna say I'll get my calculator out. It's on here. Like heat. Hot bed. Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't disagree with that. They do. Um, I did see that. So I was at a Reaper race. It was a 500 win Reaper race, and I can't remember who it was, but they were over there torching their tires. I don't think they were applying prep. They were just getting the tires warm before we got out. So maybe a hot box, it would be cool if you have like chicken warmers, chicken. What are those called? Chicken something. They're the tire warmers. Power, just electric tire warmers. What were those called? Chicken something. Chicken warmers? I can't remember. I had a set like briefly and then sold them. But yeah, keeping heat in them. Keep in mind though, if you start heating your tires, it is going to affect your air on the inside. You're going to have to, especially before you hit track, make sure before you leave grid, check your tire pressures and go out there. And it's still, if you warm your rims too much, it will affect how your tires inflate and deflate on track. There's going to be more heat built in them, so that if you start off with a warm rim, it's going to be the air inside the tire is going to be warmer. It's going to be a lot easier for it to gain. psi while you're racing as well, because you'll be heating the tire up. Just something to think about. Uh, Ben just got done hanging body on the kinetic. Say suggestions for the Hoosier Treads bullring packed red. Ooh, packed red clay. Um, I mean, standard stuff is, I always, my baseline standard for tire pressure is like 4 and 5. Treads is interesting, so take this into consideration. I'm not saying it's the same for on racing. Take this into consideration when you're running your lawnmower. You get better traction when there's more air in your tires than less air with a tractor tire. If your lawnmower and you got some sort of incline, if you're running less pressure, it's not driving those lugs into the ground, to whereas some actual air will cause that, cause it to round and push those into the ground. Just something to consider. But baseline, I don't know. I would, I wouldn't hesitate to start on 4 and 5 and then make a decision. Also, if you can, wander around, if you happen by somebody who has been there a while, you have friends, you meet somebody, just like, just say, what's a good starting pressure. Now, if you can get more than one person's opinion, it's even better, because then you don't know, you can find out if people are messing with you. Uh, I don't have issue with Southerners at all. But the only time I've really been messed with at track was by Southerners, and it was about lap times, because they really were trying to throw me off, and I was doing fine. But man, I was concerned. They told me the wrong lap time. That oh man, you're way off me. You're a second off pace. I'm like, oh man, no, I wasn't. That was a couple tenths. Uh, Jerks. Buddies of mine. Just I don't trust you guys anymore. Uh, certain PSA. Favorite two race movies. Oh goodness. I mean, Days of Thunder's just right there, isn't it? I have to be honest. I'm a comedy kind of girl. Um, I'm just gonna say, Days of Thunder and say Talladega Nights. And I know there's no racing in it per se, but there are good racing movies. I can't think of anything offhand. I mean, I'm surely not gonna go Too Fast Too Furious, even though I watched the first one like a whole bunch. But how many gears that thing have? Like 22. Like, but right, yeah, it's got Days of Thunder is a classic. I don't watch it a ton of. It's weird. I don't follow racing as much as I should. Like I'm invested in racing and doing kart stuff and everything, but I don't pay attention much outside of like NASCAR. So yeah, but I'm a comedy type of, like, if you were to ask me what movie could I watch over and over again for, I don't say the rest of my life, but just over, and I never get sick of, Bob and Doug McKenzie, Strange Brew. Long story short, my uncle is the closest to me in age. He went off to be a Marine. He left behind the VHS tape of Strange Brew by Bob and Doug McKenzie, aka the Canadian. It's just great. I mean, it's where my sense of humor came from. I think from a young age, watching such stupid comedy it gave me my sense of humor, and I just anything funny. I'm down. Make me laugh. Do you run? So it depends. Yeah. Thanks for all the videos I have been, so. Oh, nice. Uh, Grease the Lightning is a real race car. But yeah. How about here's a race movie that I absolutely love: Cannonball Run and Cannonball Run 2. I mean, that's a little older, but it's great. Yes, grooves like higher pressure, and my experience, nothing uncommon to run 8 and 9% with grooves. Oh yeah, also really helps roll speed. Yeah, yeah, I'd agree. And alongside with Joseph here mentioning that treads have they have more rubber on them. They're bigger. They're they tend to be a heavier type tire than a slick would be for obvious reasons. There's just going to be more material there. More air is going to help it roll a lot better. Absolutely, very good point. Thank you very much. Uh, Backyard. Oh yeah, yeah, corn. Yeah, like that. Corn. I do get that sometimes. People are just like, "Oh, I didn't expect you to be into metal and heavy stuff like that." I'm like, I mean, I was in a metal band for better part of 20 years as a screamer type dude. Uh, I don't know how many people know that about me, but yeah. But we're still doing a side project. It's called Into or whoa, I named the band Into the Gray. Yeah, it's called Into the Gray. So I was in a band for a long time. It's a long time before that. But and so this ends metal, like new metalish type of band, screamy, a little singy. I don't sing a ton, but more screamy type uh stuff. And yeah, my drummer quit, longtime friend. I mean, his stuff's still there, but he got a new baby on board, new job, this and that. Just couldn't do it anymore. We're old. We're doing music for fun. But then so now it's just bassist, who's one of my best friends, and my guitarist, and we're doing digital drums. And somebody's got to get to writing lyrics for the new song and name it because it's got a really dumb name. It's called Corn Paws. It's dumb. It's but yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Backyard. Black Sand's a good choice. Very good choice. Um, I'm sorry I get sidetracked here. Um, Backyard, what prep is good because the track starts out dry. I would say, all right, if during the day, you could prep with Black Sand the entire time, but dry and dusty. Black Sand is from the track tech line is going to be your choice every time. It's just really, really good. It's not going to soften the tread too much, but it's going to fine bite. Um, is taking good too. Yeah, Jim Carrey was that was huge. I'm going to be 48 here in another month and a half, and yeah, Jim Carrey was just ginormous back in the day. Uh, Unfortunately, we're all getting old. It sucks. This movie Six Pack is cool. My old man. There's a movie. Oh shoot, what's his name? Called Kart Racer, and he kept on suggesting. I watched probably 5 minutes of it. It's road course stuff. Oh shoot, he was in Christmas Vacation. You know, cousin Eddie. Yeah. Anyway, I've caught like 5 minutes of it. He kept on. Oh, you gotta watch. You gotta watch. I haven't ever watched it. Stroker Ace. I think I've seen Stroker Ace. Just been a very very long time. Um. Yeah. Actually, my wife is super into horror type stuff, also Harry Potter. So I watch a lot of that stuff, and it's mostly background stuff because I'm usually on my phone, uh, answering cart questions and doing cart stuff and editing videos and all the everything that comes along with this channel. But she watches a lot of horror stuff. We just bought Nosferatu. We saw it twice in the theater because she liked it so much, and I thought it was a really good movie. So I don't like I don't like things like Saw and stuff like that. I like zombie movies. I like but Nosferatu is really good. Ninth Gate, Johnny Depp, older movie. Just some of the I would say my tendency is to be for comedy stuff or I would say horror, but not like gore jump scare stuff. I don't like that. I think I like Nosferatu so much too because it's like a period piece, and those are just really cool the way they talk, and then you get Nosferatu. Leave there your conveniences. It's awesome. Sing a little of the Bridges. It's a great song. Yeah, yeah. That's oh my god. It's funny you bring that up. Yeah, my claim to fame was my 15 seconds of fame before the YouTube channel was that I was on a NASCAR video game. That's yeah, 2014 Inside Line. That stream um, in the song Bridges. That's me. Sweetie Todd's a great one. Absolutely. Yep. I was Sweeney Todd for Halloween one year. It's difficult because of the glasses. I won't say legally blind. I'm pretty blind, and any costume, face paint, mask, anything like that is really undoable because of the shades that I wear. I'm It's pretty bad. Like if you could these are light and plastic ones, but if I had glass, they'd be like Coke bottle bottoms. My eyes are seriously not good. And somebody would say contacts, and I haven't had contacts since I was in high school, I think. Just became, with racing, my job. I milked cows for a long time and worked graveyard shift, and then now that I grind and everything else and San Bondo, I can only imagine what a nightmare contacts would be with all that dust and stuff. So I just kind of got used to having glasses, and it is what it is. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, we're gonna back up here. I got to get caught back up because I get yammering, and then sing a little bridge part. Welch's performance, JC. Yes, absolutely. Um, yeah, Welch's performance. They look like they're getting quite. They just started their Facebook page not too long ago. It looks like they have quite the collection of stuff. Uh, yeah, uh, I just you'll see Sunday when you see if you've never seen Jason's specialties, know what it's all about. I think you'll be impressed. It's really cool. Why am I a Phantom chassis guy? So that was per my cart owner at the time, Walt Curtis. He so all right, yeah, Walt's always been an Ultramax guy, and I've had a couple Ultramaxes throughout my years. I've been on a lot of different stuff. Buller and Slack and Ultramax and Phantom. Um, yeah, I've been on. I say a little bit everything. Not modern chassis, not so much because since I became a fan, started riding Phantom, I just kind of stuck with them. But I really like Ultramax. Um, I had geez, Exceed that I was super fast on. That was the first chassis that we had bought together, and I went down and ran the nationals in Mississippi with. Um, had some super fast lap times on it. But then Wes Snow was there, and he was on a Phantom, and he was a Phantom dealer at the time. And I mean, he was rocket fast down in Mississippi at the Grand National. They got Walt got talking to him and sold him on a couple chassis. It was UAS edition Recons that we ended up getting. Um, but I had a Ultramax rival that was really good. I didn't give it a fair shake because of it had a Jawa on it at the time, big 500cc monster, and I'm a two-stroke person. It's not that I can't drive four strokes. I'm used to the power UAS style of being on a two-stroke. So whenever that thing would give me fits, engine-wise, performance-wise, anything like that, it's not the chassis fault. It really wasn't, but the chat, it just got. I If I felt like I wasn't being fast enough, I would just jump right back on the recon with the two stroke on it and just do what I do. So I would after seeing the evolve down at JC Specialties, I would heck I love to get back on one. I think Ultramax really does a great job of innovation. Now that being said, the Tricon was there, and that's an amazing piece of artwork too. Everything I saw down there. The Chargers, absolutely fantastic. I got to see the Premier up close. Very well built. Looks a bit stiff, maybe for Northern racing, but Jared Costello races those up here. He's really fast on a clone. So what do I know about it? It just looks stiff to me. Could be wrong. Also, the Demon Asylum was up. Or uh, I got to meet Denver. Super nice guy. Really, really informative. Super, super nice and very well built chassis. You'll see in the video. I got some of everything hanging on the wall, but just in general, like Phantom. Since I've been on Phantom since 2017, it hasn't is not served me. It's been very good to me. Phantom's been very good to me. It's been a quality chassis. My driving style. It's one thing Walt noticed, that when I got on the fandom, it really accepted the way I wanted to drive the cart. It was a Recon. I think they have one of the bigger tire windows out there for performance. So I just never quite got off of it because they work so well. It doesn't mean that anything else wouldn't work. Like I said, any of the chassis that I looked at, down there would be fantastic. Any other ones, Footloose looks amazing. There are a bunch of Legend. There are a bunch of different chassis that I would love to race and test to see what they do. But I just happen to be on, I'm kind of financially bound to what I have because I don't have money to buy a new chassis. So I'm sticking with Phantom. I got no qualms about it either. I have no issue. I have a 2021 Scythe and I have a 17 Recon, and I'll keep on racing them until I can eventually afford to buy something new. But I would say I would absolutely love to have the Tricon, but initial impressions, that Evolve, that Ultramax Evolve, it's a great looking cart, man. I like the ingenuity. I love them thinking outside the box. Everything else was fantastic. I take nothing away from anything else. If I had the chance today, would I get a Tricon? Absolutely. But when I saw those chassis hanging on the wall, I think the engineering aspect of the Evolve really kind of caught my attention. I'm like, that's pretty darn good, man. I mean, I don't know. I like chassis design. I like to see the way they move stuff and where bars are put and everything. It excites me. But say something like the Demon. There's nothing crazy about the chassis, but sometimes that's what you need to have that wide window, to have that, to have it be a very accepting chassis. Is let's not go anything crazy. Let's just do what we do well. And I think they might have something there as well. Uh, Anything metal music concert. Yeah, it's funny. I think they've done studies on it, and it's just like, oh, you metalheads must be aggressive, and it's just like I'm a pretty happy go lucky guy, and the music I listen to is just okay. What a brand new card, say Ultramax cost. Oh, everything brand new. What are new carts going for? A baseline. I mean, no frills, anything. A baseline chassis somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's say, 32 to $3,700, give or take. A little more for like a Premier. Uh, I think they might be the most expensive. And no, knock on them. Hey, if uh, to each your own. If you can get that money out of it, if people believe in your product and they're willing to pay for it, awesome, great. I'm not. That's not meant as a slight. But once you put a body on, engine's going to be probably what, $1,500. Some are more, some are less. Race ready tires and everything. I mean, you're probably 5 grand to 6,000. You could have a pretty decent setup of brand new stuff. I would say pretty decent. Top of the line if you wanted everything primo, like a Todd Miller, clone, a whatever it is, their carbon fiber, blah blah blah. Anything, take a any one of the premium type of packages that any one of these cart dealerships have. You're, yeah, probably 8 grand would have you at the almost the pinnacle of everything. Now, yes, it's expensive. I totally agree. Very expensive. Holy crap, clone racing's gotten to be this point. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you. I run UAS. There's $7,000 to $8,000 in my engine alone, sitting downstairs right now, keeping warm throughout the winter. In one engine, that so I hear, even at, $6,000 to $8,000, give or take, for a whole cart setup, for a clone cart, with some tires, with some rims and all that. Yes, it's expensive. Anything racing is going to be expensive. You can get into RC cars; they're going to be expensive. You're going to anything like that. The slot car track. I'm sure those guys have money invested in anything you want to be into. You can spend a lot of money on. So there's that. But then in perspective, when you're looking at my engine package, if I were to buy a brand new Bama, Buller built Bama 270 with the electronic power valve, the jack shaft, the clutch, the radiator, all that to bolt on my cart right now, it's probably $8,000. Brand spanking new to put that motor package onto my cart. My this one was it happened to be built along, so maybe it's just a slight less expensive than that, but it's still, I mean, to buy that engine brand new, serious money, and you could buy a whole karting operation and a crap ton of tires to go clone racing for what I have in one engine. So uh, okay. My great grandfather was personally friends with. Nice. Uh, is the Recon good on short tracks? Yeah, I think so. I think it's very good. If you watch any of my videos where I got the helmet cam on the side there, which my birthday's coming up, and I kind of mentioned my wife. I'm thinking about an Insta 360 now. The question is, do you get the one with the detachable, the tiny camera, and I mount it like right here on my helmet, so it gives like almost a true POV, or do you go with the 360 camera, somehow mount it up in the fairing so it'll pick up like me and all around it, or put it, content. Thinking about these things. Uh, I like the GoPro fine, but it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, 5 grand or more. Yep. Yes, yes. Yeah, you'll see video Sunday. I really got to look it over, and I'm quite impressed with it. The Evolve is very, very nice chassis. I was just listening to Four Takes and Fuel today. They had the guys from Ultimate Kart Media on there. Awesome, awesome podcast. If you guys want to check those out and listen to those guys and what they have going on Facebook, and they're doing a whole bunch of more down south type of reporting, but keeping up to date on kart race and stuff. But Alex was mentioning how he's adapting to the Evolve. It's a lot different than his Trick Olympic he was running. But he says you would think with all the bars and stuff that if you're looking at it, it looks like maybe it's a little heavier of chassis. But Alex seems to think that the Ultramax Evolve is a little lighter than his Trick Olympic, which is quite impressive. Don't know what they got going on, but yes, yeah, the yes 360. See, I don't the 360 Go is the one with the tiny little thing. Have you ever seen the cat? That people have the cat that has it and it's meowing and playing with it. It's hilarious. But my thought was that instead of having the GoPro here, which some tracks are absolutely no go, you can't have a GoPro doing that. But if I had the 360 Go setting right here on my visor, like if I made a piece to hold it, magnetic or whatever it is to hold it there, that would be kind of cool. But also having just whatever mount they have, or making my own mount, having that the extra Insta 360 on it while I'm racing, it's just how intrusive is it going to be. Where I thought if it came just up out of the fairing, like it wasn't uh messing with my vision whatsoever racing, which you have a tendency, even though your fairing's here, I mean, down the straightaway is the only time you're really looking forward. Other than that, you're kind of, you're looking at the corner, and your head might be slightly tilted. I don't know that it would bother me as much as I think it would, but I thought that having a 360 view would be kind of cool. It's in theory. Whether or not my wife approves the purchase is really up to. I know it's my birthday. I know, maybe I should have a say in that, but that's not how reality works. She carries the checkbook, and it's a good thing too. It's honestly, I'm terrible with money. Not good. I have very expensive habits, very expensive things that I like to do. I not only do I like racing, but I also like bourbon, and that can get expensive. So don't do that. Um, be responsible. 20, 21 and older. Don't drink too much. And I don't. I like to have a cocktail or two. What's going on, man? I've been debating one myself. Could be. Yeah, I know. That's my thought. That I think that would be super cool to have. I think it would give a different perspective. The problem is that's an expensive experiment. Like I hope it works, and then we're on dirt, and the GoPro seems to take the impact of, kind of like little rocks or anything like that. It's not too bad. I only have a small little chip in that, and I've had that GoPro for years. I'd hate to damage a camera, on dirt tracks. Uh, I could put it in a case. I don't know. It's something I got to think about. But yeah, card engines, tires, and amps. I thought about making it a. No, I would say that that's not a bad idea at all, Tyler. Especially if somebody's looking to, either get into it, or they just want a different, setup, or say it's a, maybe it's something like a local money race or something like that. That's possible. I always thought about that. Like, am I enough of a wheelman that I could pilot somebody else's stuff and do well in a big race? It really, it makes you wonder. Uh, but yeah, I think James Stanley uses the Camex. Yes, that it's right inside. Like you don't even see it. Like the visor goes down, and who picked that up? I think Stanley sold it to. Oh shoot, is it Karting Keepsake that has it now? Uh Boy, oh boy, it was Frank's Outdoor Life that had bought it initially, and then I think Frank got out of doing all that, and then was it Karting Keepsakes that took over? I can't remember that. But yeah, yeah, that's I think I've had this discussion with people that I'm a fair open driver, UAS driver. It's what I did for so long. I won't say I'm great at it, but I'm used to the horsepower, so I know what it's gonna tend to like and not like when it comes to clone racing or anything. Lower horsepower. I'm still, I'm a rookie, or maybe I'm a sophomore now. I had my rookie season of getting my butt kicked. Uh, it's funny when you talk to people, they're like, "Oh, how many wins did you have last year?" I'm like, "One," and they're like, "Oh, that's it." I'm like, "You know how hard it is? I spent so many years running UAS. Do you know how hard it is to win in UAS, and then to transfer over to something that you don't know exactly what you're doing?" And it's not that the whole, like, the entire time this channel was going on, I was taking my UAS knowledge and kind of converting it to clone knowledge. But now that I have experience in the clone world, it's a different type of world. There's different experience. It's a different skill set that you need. Now, one can affect the other. Like, I was a fairly smooth open racer. I developed into one. I wasn't always one. I developed into a smooth open racer. It transferred over into the clone racing quite well. Not super fast, but also like not completely out the lunch. But then it's just a whole new experience, and that was my intent when I started doing that. I wanted to give you guys the experience I was transferring over from that to this, and yeah. Nice. I appreciate that. I want to get. Yeah, it's tough. It's thoughts are, oh, W game banning titanium axles. I think it's $1,100 for an axle. I'll just put that out there. Is it worth it too if you can afford it? Sure. Is it worth it? Um, I'm torn. Cost wise, it's keeping the cost down. Do I think that's why they did it? No. I think that you had people were going to be purchasing. They were the people who could afford it were going to be buying them, and in order to prevent other people from complaining, I think they just went ahead and banned it. Well, I just met 5.3 Titanium this weekend. Super nice guy. But yeah, I saw one of those axles. Super nice, super duper nice. I'm not going to buy one. For it's not in my budget to buy one. Uh, WKA is doing some. I don't know enough about their series, but they're just the simple fact that they're not on board with the NKA AKRA rules for the clones. I think it's honestly ridiculous. I don't like it. I don't like the other series that somebody would want to run would have different rules for their clones. I don't like it. It may be inconsequential. It may be, such a little, but I would rather everybody be on the same page as far as clone. Like I've said it, I'll say it, I'll keep on saying it. I can go anywhere in the country and run UAS because we have one standard rule book anywhere in the UAS. In the United States, I can go and run the same class. Is not true with clone stuff, and that's kind of bogus. I think they should all be on the same page with the same rules for the clone engine. End of story. I don't like, when they're trying to be an outsider just for what it seems. I don't know the inside baseball. It seems like they're trying to be an outsider just to be an outsider. Like, oh, we tested this and we did this. Well, you're making it a pain in the ass for people. If I eventually did want to go run clone at WKA event, do I need a different engine? That's bunk. I don't like that. It's not good. But I think there's going to be some changes coming. The new car, I don't know a ton about it, but I know that's starting to gain some traction. From what I know, the $600 engine, give or take, but a little more reliable. Basically a Predator, but more reliable. Okay, but I think there's going to be not a shift, but there's going to be some different growing things going on in karting coming up here in the next couple of years, and hopefully everything settles down and gets evened out. I don't know enough about some subjects to be commenting, so I probably shouldn't. Although I have lots of opinions about stuff, it just what I see from like WKA. Okay, the titanium axle, I get it, but somebody griped, just like I can't afford that, and it's all right. I I understand because you were going to have some teams that couldn't afford titanium axles running against those who could, and then they had an advantage. Okay, fine, but I don't know. Close to 700 in the NC. Oh, okay. Ducar all out 450. Super. It's 300 350 for one, and I already had the motor. Nice. Yeah, it's from what I've heard, the Ducar's a really good class to be in. Um, I just got into clone. I need another entry package, like I need a whole nut. Uh, and we don't have anything really up here quite yet. Maybe Hunterstown, PA, but I mean that's like 4.5 hours from me. 4.5, about 4.5 hours from me. I drive 15, just like kitty corner across the state down to Hunterstown. Uh, with JC Specialties, what it was blowing my mind is I always thought it was a lot further down there. Like I just got done like 2 weeks before that driving down to Pittsburgh for the UAS conference, winter conference, and that was 4.5 hours. Ended up being five, with pit stops, all that stuff. And then when I went to go to JC's, I forgot it's like 2 3/4 hours from me. I'm like, oh, this is this is a breeze. uh, Yeah, yeah, Ducar and UAS, big horsepower. It is. Like I said though. That's I was saying it down to JC's open house there that coming from UAS, it's not going slower in a clone or in a Ducar. Um, it's just a different skill set. It's not any less fun. There's no there's no replacement for displacement. Um, but the acceleration, but there is a definite skill set to it, and it was fun for me. It was fun to learn it, and I continue honestly when it comes down to it. Also, a little selfishly, uh, yes, you have a lot more time in tires and thinking about tires, what you want to wipe, what you don't want to wipe. How many ounces do these have? There's a little more attention paid to tires in clone racing. Totally understand it. But when it comes down to it, like I can put my clone in the back of my truck, not take the trailer, a toolbox, a couple sets of tires, and let's go race. Gear set and let's go race. That is not the case with the open. I have to have backups and pieces and parts, and I have spare jack shaft pieces and spare this and spare that. I have a whole nother jug for my Bama, that if I, if I'm going to a big race, like I'm going to go out to the Grand Nationals, and you better believe that, everything should be okay with my engine. I'm not going to run it, too awful much this year for points, getting quarter points going into the Grand Nationals. But the spare jug and piston I have are going with me, because it's just something when you run open motors. They are volatile. They are, the Bama's been real solid for me, but it's still an open motor. It's still running methanol. We're still pushing the issue with RPMs, stuff like that. Things have a tendency to go wrong with opens. Attrition is very real in the UAS. I didn't find that to be in clone. I know some things can go wrong with clones. You can have a misfired engine. You could, tiny little things. You have blah 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 go right. But I ran the whole season. I had two motors. I put 7 races on one motor. I put 3 races on the other. Uh, Perfectly fine. I think I had a broken spark plug all year long. That was the only thing that went wrong. So it's a lot less mechanical issues go into clone racing. A lot less of attention have to be paid into that. You can pay more attention to tires. You can pay more attention to setup. Typically, when you come off track in UAS, your number one concern is usually, how's the engine running? How are my RPMs? How's my heat? Let's make sure we keep this thing together, because your engine doesn't finish, you don't finish. Uh, you know, just my opinion on that. I was looking at the time, getting near the hour. From what I've heard, that the axles are over. They flex too much and make getting off the left rear harder than standard CI axle. So that's, yeah. I, without experience with the TI axle, I'll just say titanium. I think that's weird seeing TI. It's what it stands for, but it's also it's weird. You are, so here's my basic premise on that you can run it. It's gonna, obviously, rotational weight is going to be down. You're going to maximize horsepower. All good things. I'm positive you put a titanium rear axle in it. You can tune around it or with it, whatever however you want to see that. The thing is that chassis was designed around a steel axle. So the way it behaves right now, with the way you understand it to behave, what kind of cross it likes, what kind of bite it likes, where, how is your rear track width, things like that are all, you know, built into the way the chassis was designed, because it was designed with a mild steel rear axle. When you start changing what that rear axle is, you start changing the dynamics of how that cart handles. Now, you're not just, oh, everything is exactly the same, it just accelerates faster. Not true. It now behaves different. The flex of the axle comes into play. Now, uh, it will flex. From what I've been told, it will flex, but it comes back easier. So it's going to play into that factor of what your setup is. So it's, is it something, I would love to play with one, but it would be, it's just a learning curve. With anything, if you're allowed to do it, if it's part of the rules, hey, we allow titanium rear axles, cool. Just know that if you go ahead and install one, not only are they like $1,100, at least that's the price I saw on one. But they're expensive to fit. Obviously you break one, not good, but it may take whatever you know about that chassis performance and change it. Maybe slightly, but it might change. Maybe it doesn't react the same way. Maybe it takes a slightly stiffer tire, or a harder durometer. Maybe it takes a little more, a couple more wipes of prep. But without running one, you don't actually know. But I'm sure, if you just keep at it, put it on there, find out what it likes, it's going to be, then you're going to have the added benefit of whatever that axle is doing, plus the fact that your rotational weight has gone down. So the WK ban, I get it. I understand why they banned it. Just it's so reactionary. I don't know. I'm sure people are complaining, but you can run titanium everywhere else. Titanium clutch, nuts and bolts, lighten your weight. Get everything lighter and faster. Uh, if the rear axle is the only thing they're banning, then if you have the money to go ahead and put TI all over your cart, you can do it. It's impressive stuff. Like I said, I saw the 5.3 titanium guys. Got to BS with them quite a bit this weekend. Uh, Super nice guy, very knowledgeable and stuff. Talking about stuff that's way over my head. They're talking about we're in the back where you can go get food, and they're talking about Haas machines and 4-point machining. That's way beyond my pay grade. Way beyond my pay grade. Really cool. I appreciate the products. I think they look amazing. They're super light, very, very, very awesome. But also, like, it's just oh, we're running this wall and that wall. I'm like, I'm just like I said in the beginning of the stream. I just Saturday Night Racer. Uh, does it look cool? Is it faster? That's what I need to know. That's all I need to know. But all right, we are at an hour. Oh, I have to put this thing out again. I still think that's cool. It's bright. I know it's hard to see on. Uh, I get that mounted out in the. I don't know how it'll look in back of me. I'll figure out somewhere to put it. Try and get it into some videos and everything. I thank you very much, Mr. Cooper, by the way, for that. Cooper. I'm terrible with names, and I apologize if I got that. No, I got that right. I'm so unconfident when it comes to names and coming up with stuff. Treadway Racing had the titanium clutch. Oh, it's crazy. I went to drop off my engine and at Motorworks in Pennsylvania there, and Kyle was showing me he had a couple. He just put them in my hands, and I'm like, holy crap! Like it's impressive. Now there's again, is it when you lighten everything up with titanium, um, you're I won't say giving up, but you have a continued momentum when you have a little bit of heavier parts getting into the corner. It may be just fractions of a second or whatever it is, but there is something to it that it would when you lift to get into a corner. There's a certain amount of momentum that is carried with heavier parts. Now if you're it all may be for naught. Maybe you invest completely in the titanium clutch and everything like that, and restarts are key, and you're able to pass people off restarts. You get the jump out of the corner, yours just accelerates like a beast out of the corner. It may be completely worth it. It may be completely worth getting rid of that, whether that continued momentum getting to the next corner. So just oh hi, you're just getting on, and as I was thinking about getting off. Where's my drink? There we go. I got it. I got stuff to do. The weather needs to. Still got some of that Star Pro stuff up here. Uh oh, I froze. All right, guys. Well, I froze on my end. I don't know if it's still counting down. I froze on my end. I don't know what happened, but I will use that as an excuse to get off here. So thank you very much, everybody, for stopping my video on JC Specialties and my trip down there coming up Sunday. And I'll see you guys then. Later.